Tonight on SeddyI Bimco Part 2, The Revenge, things get tense. Catch all the thrills right now on your podcast machine.
This is the bombastic 150th episode of SeddyI Bimco Part 2, The Revenge. I'm here with George.
Yeah, do it. I have no idea what's going on this whole
at
episode.
At our party.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hello.
That's Caplasto. But this week, we're in the middle of the 50 Nifty tour of the United States. I said that wrong. We just decided to do Washington State.
Yep.
I did. Because George was away.
Yeah, take the we off of this. Everything that happens this week is Tim.
From Washington State. We're watching This Is Cougar Country from 1972, made on the University of Washington.
Yep.
It's actually made in Washington State.
Yeah.
And before we get there, George, I always ask an age-old question about revenge.
You sure do.
So, George, did a 105-year-old Anderson Beauregard, one of the last survivors of the Titanic, ever get revenge on his grandchild for demanding that they ride the Hindenburg ride at the amusement park, which was fine until the ride ended up going haywire, sending their blimp cart flying into the ride known as the Tunnel of Icebergs. See history.
Good stuff, Tim.
It's SeddyI Bimco Part 2, The Revenge, the show where we create revenge sequels that nobody wanted.
Hey, it's SeddyI Bimco Part 2, The Revenge. We make revenge sequels so you don't have to. And
that's Tim Hamilton. I'm George O'Connor.
I draw New Yorker cartoons. He draws.
I draw graphic novels.
The Olympians.
Yep, and the Asgardians. Yep, and other books too.
And other books.
Yeah.
And it's our 150th episode.
Yep, 150th episode. Probably the last episode. Again, I want to reiterate, in case you couldn't hear it over the clamor of the party noise, I have literally no idea what's going on this entire episode.
It's just a party, George.
This is the Tim Hamilton episode.
No, we're just watching a movie. It's the same as always, George.
Oh, it's definitely not a movie, Tim.
So, but this is a relaxed episode where you can tell me what you did this week and you can complain about something awful that happened.
Okay, so let's see. This week, I was... For the second time this month, I was in the state of Florida. Notice I didn't say the great state of Florida.
Okay.
I was there to provide the officiation for my cousin's wedding.
Nice.
My cousin and her long-term girlfriend got married, and it was a wonderful thing. I gave if I do say so myself, a pretty fun speech. It was in the woods outside of Tampa, Florida, and turns out, Tim, I'd never been to Tampa before.
No?
Have you ever been to Tampa?
What, wasn't that where the book fair was? No.
That's Miami Book Fair.
So Tampa,
yeah.
I have not been to the Tampa Book Fair.
I mean, not to exaggerate, I don't think this is exaggeration. I've probably been to Florida since achieving adulthood upwards of 50 times. I have family down there. I have the book fair I go to every year. I'm brought down for school. There's a lot of reasons to go to Florida. I've never been to Tampa, and I gotta say, and this is a rare compliment for Florida from me, Tampa's actually not bad a city.
Okay.
It's very weird because in all my other trips to Florida, all the other Floridians would shit on Tampa and make fun of Tampa and talk about how shitty Tampa was. And I think it's because all the rest of Florida is kind of shitty. And Tampa was actually kind of nice. So I was like, oh. So the thing that sucked is that I was supposed to come back to New York on a Sunday night, and Delta did some shenanigans. And at the last second, after delaying my flight all day, canceled the flight. And there were so many other flights that had been rescheduled and shuffled, I couldn't get back to New York until Tuesday night. So I had to spend an extra 2 days in Tampa.
That's why I had to put this together.
And that's why partially why Tim did whatever the hell we're going to be experiencing next, folks. So blame Delta Airlines. Tim, should we welcome our new sponsor, Delta Airlines?
Delta Airlines. No more Spirit Airlines.
Imagine we had that level of sponsor. The best we could hope for is Bat and Spider.
We do have a new sponsor.
Oh, what?
Drums for people who are not so tall. But we'll welcome to the podcast.
What the hell did you just say?
Are your arms just a little too small for full-size drums? Roughly 8 inches elbow to wrist? Do you need drumsticks that are 9 centimeters but can only find drumsticks which measure 10 centimeters? We at the Slightly Small Drum Store sell slightly smallish drums. Are you on the shortish side? We have slightly small drums for you. If your arms are 8 inches from elbow to wrist, call us. Maybe we can help. If you have one arm longer than the other, give us a call. We can help. If you have a 6th finger on either hand, please do not call us. We can't help you. Do you get a rash while playing guitar? Do not call us. You should call the No Rash Guitar Center in East Spokane. But for all your small drum needs, call the Slightly Small Drum Store. We do not sell crash cymbals. Small drums may cause dry skin, loss of feeling in your thumbs, and thumping sounds. Visit us at 234 Paddington Road, Rochester, New York.
How about you, Tim? What happened to you this week?
I wanted to know what it means when you officiate. You're in charge of the whole thing?
Yeah, it's like I'm the one who stands up there in front of the I was on the little. It was an outside wedding on a little river, and there was like a little. I'm calling it a stage, but it was like a little, let's say, porch that we were on. Okay. And my cousin and her bride were there assembled in front of me, and I had a whole speech celebrating their relationship and their wedding, their union, and I kind of told a semi-humorous story. It was all true, but to everybody there, I told them the story of how they started dating. But I made it, whimsical.
You used small animals in your story instead of humans, right?
It's funny you mention that, Tim, because you know what was there was supposed to be during the cocktail hour before the wedding?
What?
There was supposed to be an actual, honest-to-God small horse that came, and the small horse did not show up.
What do you think happened to it?
I'm not really sure. There's some theories, but like I had a whole joke in my speech about the small horse, and I had to strike that bit on the fly because like it would have made no sense to people in attendance. It's like, why is this guy talking about small horses? There was no small horses.
They're like, this is like listening to SeddyI Bimco. I don't know what's going on.
This is like listening, except for nobody would ever say that because we've never had a listener of SeddyI Bimco.
We have so many listeners, especially in Australia.
Yeah, that's what you always say. I think you
We're
purposely
back.
chose
I just
the
turned it around.
furthest spot. Yeah, we're back.
You have some Washington facts about that state?
Yeah, kinda.
That's the thing that happens every week, George.
Did we actually even announce the name of the movie, though? You said it was filmed on this.
This is
what's
Cougar
it called?
Country.
This is 1972.
So it's not about older women who are attractive, as that means today.
Nope. It's not about the actual big cats, really, either.
It's not about a cat person.
It's really not even...
It's a story.
It's not a story at all, Tim.
But George, what about Washington facts first?
Okay, Washington State. All right, it's named after George Washington. Did you know that? Yep. It was almost named Tacoma because people in Washington, D.C. were concerned that they would be confused between the two. But that got overruled, and that's why it's always called Washington State. Because you don't say like Massachusetts State.
Nope. That's why we're always confused.
Yep. It has a population. And what happens to him?
What happens to get on the wrong plane? Delta sends me to the wrong Washington.
That sounds like a fucking Delta move. Population of less than 8 million people, so smaller than the population of New York City, but bigger than Brooklyn, so it's got that.
Yeah.
Its nickname is the Evergreen State because it's got trees. Yep. Its capital is Olympia, but its biggest city is Seattle. It was the 42nd state to enter our union. It is the home of Fraser Crane, which my wife and I have been in the midst of watching old episodes of Frasier, and like that show holds up. They're always going to the coffee shop and stuff, and that's just such a weird thing back then. They're like, look at those fancy guys going to coffee shops, which is especially interesting because, of course, Washington is the birthplace of Starbucks.
True.
The terrible coffee chain. It's also the birthplace of pickleball.
Is it? Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's where that comes from.
Did you read?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't even understand why it's called pickleball. All I know is that a lot of like vaguely athletic people my age play pickleball, and it pisses me off. Yeah.
You like axe throwing?
I do actually like axe throwing, but that's
still a thing. Is that over?
I haven't done it for a while. Folks, true story. I'm actually pretty good at axe throwing. It's like just there's no reason. Like I'm actually pretty good at it. It's like When the zombie apocalypse comes, if I get up some axes, I'll probably take a little bit longer to die than everybody else.
Maybe you have Van Helsing blood in you? Yeah.
Maybe. Did you think he used axes?
Like,
I think he used.
sure.
I think he
What,
ate a lot of
anything.
garlic. I don't know. Do axes kill vampires?
depends.
Depends.
When you know what? Since it's kind of a relaxed episode, we've talked about a lot of vampire movies, and you asked me.
I asked you all these questions, and you got nervous when I did.
Powers of vampires I like the best.
Yeah.
But I remembered it's one of their weaknesses that I hate the most, which is in a movie, sometimes people will pick up 2 sticks and make a cross, and the vampire's like, no. And I'm like, well, how much does it have to stay like a cross, and how many degrees can it be like off from a cross before it's not a cross? It's
That's a good point.
a silly defense. I hate that.
I hate in general the whole idea that religious symbols work, because
Yes.
then you're really burying the lead.
Yeah.
All right, so you already got a movie with vampires, right? And now suddenly the vampires are being repelled by a cross. Mm-hmm. Now you have the actual conclusive proof of the existence of Jesus.
Right.
Yeah, so that's a bigger story than vampires. That's like, oh, religion is is everything I've been doing has been wrong.
Then in the X-Men, in the worst issue of X-Men ever, where Dracula shows up, we got Kitty Pryde, who's Jewish, and I think she found out her star David worked.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the worst issue of X-Men?
Oh, come on. Dracula shows up. It's a cool mutant comic with, I don't know.
Drawn by Bill Sienkiewicz in his Neil Adams phase.
Looked nice.
Inked by Joseph Rubinstein. Boo.
Angered me so much when I bought that.
Tim,
those only one X-Men comic back then. And if they ruin it, I'm like, oh, that's it for 2 months. No X-Men comic.
We should transition, when we finish up the 50 Nifty States, into you talking about how the X-Men lost you at that time period. Kitty Pryde with her pet dragon fighting Dracula. You were full of rage about shit about that.
I was.
Yeah.
So anyway, continue.
Mount St. Helens is in
That's
there.
right.
It blew up. Yep.
Blew up in 81?
That sounds about right. Do you want to talk?
Murdered a lot of Sasquatch.
You know that's something that they say, right?
What?
Like there's many accounts that you could find on the internet of people claiming to have seen burnt Sasquatches and the government moving them out and stuff. Like, yeah, that's a big thing. In fact,
Smithsonian moved them.
Well, the Army was working with the Smithsonian that day. In fact, that kind of ties into, I always have my first elevator, first streetcar, and first cryptid I always do.
Yeah.
All right, the cryptid, I just decided, Washington is famous for Sasquatches, right? We've kind of skipped, but there was one variation of Sasquatch, which is worth noting, called the Bat Squatch. It was a blue Sasquatch that had bat wings.
Nice.
And it was sighted flying from the wreckage of Mount St. Helens. It was like freed. Yeah.
It just laid an egg, probably.
Maybe. Maybe that's what blew up Mount St. Helens. It has an IPA named after it called, Bat Squatch IPA.
I think I've heard of that.
Yeah. Let's see, the first elevator, I don't know the year, but it was designed by Nikola Tesla himself, and it crashed through the sidewalk when they tried to install it.
Downwards or coming up from the ground?
Downwards. It just shattered through the sidewalk. Like it was too, it was awesome.
Backwards Willy Wonka.
Yeah, it was the first time a reverse Willy Wonka. Well, it's actually the first time something named Tesla just fucked up real bad. Yeah. Because nowadays Teslas are always fucking. Yeah, now Teslas are fucking up every day.
The name is ruined.
As we're recording, this is a day where all Teslas everywhere are being recalled. Mm-hmm. That's probably also going to be an evergreen statement because I'm sure they're going to keep recalling because they're ugly pieces of trash. And finally, the first streetcar was in 1884 in Seattle. That's all my Washington facts. Boom.
Well, I got my strange laws because as we've talked about movies, we're bad planners, and we only recently realized every state has an odd law or odd laws that we have visited. So
we're also bad researchers because at least one of the odd laws was almost certainly a joke from The Simpsons that you repeated as fact. But yes, go on.
A few weeks ago. So it's a law. No harassing Bigfoot. This law is in Skamania County. It protects the legendary creature known as Bigfoot or Sasquatch.
Nice. I like that. They got a lot of Sasquatch shit in this town. So, and I was thinking that's where Patterson Gimlin was filmed, the famous Sasquatch video. It's not. It's Northern California.
Bigfoot is mentioned in this movie. So.
Yes. Specifically under the name Sasquatch.
No,
and it's also it's not a movie.
no
Worth mentioning
sleeping.
that. Yeah.
No sleeping in another person's outhouse in Washington.
What, Tim? Question.
Yes.
What if you were sleeping in the outhouse to escape attack by a Sasquatch?
I think that
You're
should
not
be
allowed to
allowed.
harass the Sasquatch. I mean, I
No.
feel like that's got to be litigated.
These are like those robot laws that one counteracts the other.
Yeah.
You know, from the famous novels, in case no one knows what I'm talking about.
I think you're talking iRobot.
Yeah.
Like the Asimov. Yeah. Should we say what they are so people, in case we have a listener, they'll be like wondering what are you talking about?
Not the robots in Star Wars.
No, those are droids.
Those are droids.
Not the robots in Next Generation.
Those are androids.
Star Trek.
too.
Those are androids, yeah. Not the robots in Lord of the Rings. Those
No.
are elves. Those are elves, yeah.
So the other law, got 3 year. No buying a mattress on Sundays. So Sunday is the
weird.
day of the Lord. No mattress action, I guess.
But it's the day of rest, do you think? And like mattresses.
right. What if you have to rest?
Another robot law.
So if it's Sunday and you don't have your own outhouse or your own mattress, you've got to go take a nap in someone else's outhouse, I guess.
But you can't.
You
This is tricky. And what if you're a Sasquatch doing this? Like this, Washington, be better with your rules. How are what's the whatchamacallits? What's the state seal and flag look like, Tim?
Flag and the seal, same thing,
Mm-hmm.
just altered. It's that famous picture of Washington where he's kind of got almost a little grin.
Well, I read this fact. I was hoping you would share it. It is the only state seal and flag with a picture of an actual person on it.
Nice.
All the rest are metaphorical images of badly drawn guys holding hatchets that they stole from the local Native Americans and such. This one has a picture of George Washington himself.
He's got that little grin.
He's got that grin because he's like, I cut down that cherry tree and ain't nobody know about that.
And only one of his slaves escaped.
Only one of my enslaved people escaped.
Ona Judge. You know why?
Is that really-
Yeah, that's right. I read the book, people. You want to know
What
why
book?
she ran away?
Because he tried to steal her teeth for his...
No.
Oh.
Like, she had a good job cooking, cleaning. They treated her well. I'm not saying slavery's good. I'm just saying.
Sounds like you are, Tim.
Just saying.
This is controversial 150th and final episode of SeddyI Bimco.
It's going to give her to his daughter when she married a man who was a widower. And he had been living in India. And I don't know what was going on during that time in India, but he had 2 Indian, I don't know if they're slaves, but attendants who were women. And Ona Judge met them, and she noticed his children. They looked Indian. So she was like, oh, I see what's going to happen if I end up with you. So she took off, and then she got away. And went
Isn't it
north.
nice it's nice that American history has always been a nightmare.
Yes.
We've always been great. I don't know about this making America great again. We never stopped being great.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, we've always been awesome.
Always been great. Hear
Yep.
that, England? Here is an ad from one of our friends called Retrospection. They are British, and I think you heard their ad last week.
I did, and I thought they were Southern at first.
Okay.
Thought they're from Alabama.
Hello, and this is an advert for Retro.
Retrospection, it's the podcast that we do.
We do a podcast?
Yeah, we discuss the film and TV that we grew up with and see if it still holds up for us today.
Well, what kind of stuff do we cover?
Anything really. We've chatted about carry-on films, Bond, Hammer Studios, Knight Rider, The Professionals, including TV annuals, music, and nude action figures.
Is that nude?
Don't think about it.
Well, that sounds great. And is Retrospection available at all the usual good podcast stores?
And the bad ones.
Well, an irreverent podcast about film and TV sounds like something I really should be downloading.
You're in it.
I am? Well, that's news to me. But I have one question.
Yeah?
Who are you? Well, what am I doing here? How does this work? What are
Nurse.
podcasts?
Nurse, it's happening again.
Why is the moon made of cheese?
It's happening again.
Benedictine? I bet he does.
All right, George, we're back. There was our
We're
ad.
back. Man, listen to those Southerners speak.
This movie, 1972's This Is Cougar Country, made 5 years before Star Wars changed the world.
Want to just point out it's not a movie.
It was
This
said,
is
it said it was written and
it's a
filmed.
half hour bewilderingly filmed advertisement for the whatever the hell university this is.
Washington University. Shout out to them.
Washington State University,
I mean,
I'm pretty sure, because they say W. Tim.
Yes, I see it.
You
I
sat
see
through
it.
a half hour of this garbage and you didn't even pick that up?
They didn't convince me.
Folks, I'm just going to say this. I'm not exaggerating. It's a half-hour advertisement for WSU. This is the most punishing thing I've ever watched for SeddyI Bimco. I watched it on double speed on YouTube, so it was only 15 minutes, and it still was. It was interminable. It was awful. When I knew you'd love it, I'm like, I don't get how. There's nothing here.
It's a story, George.
No, it's not. It's just a woman writing a letter to her alleged
College girl. Her grandfather. It's her granddad.
Yeah. All right, you're gonna take over because
we never learned her name. I'm gonna call her Gigi. What would you like to call her?
Granddaughter. That's what she was called in the credits.
Well, this movie is about Gigi. I'm gonna call her Gigi.
All right, I'm gonna call her granddaughter.
Granddaughter. She's out eating shish kebabs with her
What's
boyfriend.
this movie called again?
This is Cougar Country.
This is Cougar Country.
So this whole story, as George said, is her writing her granddad, telling him how the school has changed since he went there back in Civil War days. Okay? That's your plot.
Mm-hmm. All right.
So she said in her letter, she says, a lot of things have changed here, Granddad.
Uh-huh.
We no longer steal President Harding's underwear and use them as a sail on our school yacht.
President Warren G. Harding?
Yeah.
Okay.
And she says...
He was, of course, not the president during the Civil War, you know.
Yeah, but these are traditions that happened since then.
Okay, all right. This off. Hold on. Before you go any further, Bat and Spider, I am open to joining your podcast.
She says, we still have Mark Twain's mustache. We still shave Mark Twain's mustache off during Pledge Week, but it's much harder now as we have to dig him up first, because Washington is the final resting place of Mark Twain.
I mean, his corpse really gets around.
So they do have a cougar for a mascot, which I didn't like. It was just walking around in a cage. His name is Boo.
Was there actually a real cougar?
Yes.
I remember seeing a cougar, but I don't remember the context now.
It was in
I
a
thought
cage.
maybe it was. I thought maybe it was a student. Okay.
Student.
Yeah.
The college opened in 1890.
All right, nice.
One building. It's made out of horsehair and glue. She reminds her granddad about the old buildings that are still around but have different uses. Mm-hmm.
That's actually a thing I remember him saying.
The slave quarters is now an art center.
Wow, what's with you and enslaved people today? Is this your
history,
new Hitler?
George,
is this your new
history.
Hitler?
Okay, and then there's a joke about a menstruating hut, but I'm not going to make that. George doesn't like those jokes.
Oh my God. What else, Tim?
There's 24 sororities and fraternities. There's 6,000 students. She tells
I remember her talking about what. This is my big takeaway. I remember there's one part. She's like, "There's a lot of stuff to do. We have many clubs. Sometimes people come and talk about Sasquatch studies."
that.
And my ears perked up for that 1 millisecond. Remember, I was playing this double speed too, so it really was very quickly. And then it just died on the vine. It just left it there. And then she went on to talk about, I don't know, some professor doing some shit.
Well,
Yep.
she tells her granddad about the meat lab and agriculture.
Uh-huh.
A lot of field trips to farms. Mm-hmm. They learn about the
these are all-
environment.
Uh-huh.
Half the potatoes made there are made into French fries.
Yep, and they've done stuff to them so the French fries retain their color longer. I recall that too.
They have a cool literature class with a cool teacher who has some big sideburns. I don't know if you saw him.
Maybe.
He was an English teacher.
We did mention this is from 1972.
1972.
So every single person had cool sideburns, even the women.
He had big ones. They were so
Uh-huh.
big.
That's Tim.
So big that each sideburn had its own dedicated comb.
Wow. That's pretty big, Tim.
So big they once went to war with each other over ownership of that teacher's lips.
Wow. What else, Tim?
So big they got fan mail from Isaac Asimov's sideburns.
Oh, wow. We're really bringing up a lot. Was that by design?
What?
Was Isaac Asimov just in your head because you had this sideburn joke? Or were you like being an artist and carefully sprinkling in little Asimovian bits? Because I feel like you kind of quote unquote improv'd that robot rules being thing before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious.
This is all
You're
improv.
You are like, Tim, you're like an onion. There's just layers to discover.
They have a big art department.
Yep.
This tells Granddad, and, it's different than in his day. We have a few eccentric types.
Oh, yeah. Back in your day, the eccentric types who practiced in their attics.
Yes.
She said, which,
Who would
yeah.
cut off part of their ear and send it to their prostitute lover. Yeah.
Hey, everybody. That's a Vincent Van Gogh, or as people like to say now, a Vincent Van Gogh reference.
And it was only his earlobe.
Only his earlobe, yep. That makes it okay.
I'm just saying.
I've cut off my earlobe dozens of times to send to various sex workers that I'm fans of.
And it grows back?
Oh, yeah, always. You've never done?
No.
Yeah, well.
But she's
Bat and Spider. This is where you don't get this sort of humor on Bat and Spider. Nope. Was I here last week?
Yeah.
Oh, I was. So we have officially lost now, right? They've defeated us?
No.
Okay.
It's not over.
In their indifference and in this being our 150th episode, they've just won, right?
They haven't won yet.
Okay.
Go
on. Tim, I have an idea to get some crazy ratings.
What?
What about right now? You interrupt this like half-hour-long commercial you're doing for WSU. What if you cut off your earlobe right now and send it to someone?
To Bat and Spider?
Oh, yes! Oh, my gosh. Wait, Tim, if you had to send it to either Dale or Chuck, which would you send it? Who do you think would be more appreciative of a severed earlobe in the mail?
Appreciative.
Yeah.
Maybe Dale, because it's well known he likes to eat human flesh. So
that's what's giving me a follow-up question. Okay. And what do you think? So Dale would just eat it?
Yes.
Do you think Dale would savor the taste, or would he just pop it in or would he kind of chew on it for the better part of a day?
He would chew on it. Yeah, he's a chewer.
Yeah. Ooh, wow, you speak with some authority here. You heard it here,
Take
folks.
Bat and Spider.
Podcast. Is Dale Bat or is Dale Spider?
I don't know.
Or is he neither? Are they just? They're both sleepy. Are they just sleepy guys? The Bat and Spider's what they aspire to be? I don't know. All right.
That's a different podcast. People
Where will we
that
in
we're
this
talking
ad?
about. She was talking about what art is like today.
Oh, I have a question for you before you're going further. How many commercial breaks did you have in this fucking half-hour commercial for another institution?
2.
Oh, man, I had fucking 4. That's too much.
Yeah, that's too much.
Yeah, I was outraged. All right, go on.
We're talking about the art school. She says today, art is for everyone, especially those first-year first-year photography students who take naked pictures of themselves or each other for their first project. Because George and I went to art school, and what happens in the first year of
you see a lot of naked. You see all your classmates naked. That's what happens. Actually, that's a plus. Did you notice, Tim? There was a part in this where she does, because this whole thing is just this woman, this unnamed woman writing to her unnamed grandfather.
Gigi.
A half-hour. It's not Gigi. A half-hour-long commercial for WSU. So. Did you notice there's a part when she talks about how the girls go sunbathing and the boys are always around when that happens?
Yep.
Very odd. Just this little bit where suddenly in the middle of this advertisement for this school that somebody put together in some misguided attempt to get people to attend to this school. It's just like there's about a minute of shots of just 1972 era women in bikinis. Just like, I'm like, that's probably not appropriate in your institution of higher learning.
And the men answered joking that the men are nearby with their binoculars.
Yeah, it was creepy. It was weird.
Because I was like, you're in college. You can go down there and sunbathe with them. You don't have to spy on them.
You don't have to be a creepy, leering freak. You don't have to be a Bat and Spider.
I noticed that.
Can we stop this yet? Because I want to talk about the bigger question.
Okay, we will.
All right, go on. Go on with your. I have a big question to ask of that. Go on with your thing. I'm gonna entertain myself by drawing pictures of naked Red Sonja and/or She-Hulk.
One lady was making an ashtray. I have to complain. An ashtray with a snake on it. I'm like, come on, this is college. You didn't look at her project?
No, I didn't. Was it good or bad, or was it just the fact it was an ashtray? Tim,
just an
you got to give me more. You got to give me more than this, Tim.
If they had a radio station, KWSU. What do you think that stood for? Come on.
Kill white Southerners. Oh,
wow.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I didn't do it either because I thought you would do it.
Nah, Tim.
Edward R. Murrow is one of the graduates, though. Come on. All you kids out there, yeah. Edward R. Murrow was a very famous, he was a TV reporter and a journalist.
Yeah, he also was famous he smoked a lot.
He smoked so many cigarettes, George.
How many cigarettes did he smoke, Tim?
He died. That's how many he smoked. Kids don't smoke. But they built a community center. It cost $2.5 million to build, George. Do I play the music?
Yeah, you can, but I didn't do it.
Wow.
All right, wait. Let me see. Inflation. I'm going to do it right now. Tim, play the music.
Okay. $2.5 million to build that. What's that cost today? You want me to guess? I'll say.
Tim, did they build it in 1972, or was it just built some undisclosed time since?
It did say, so I'll say 1971. They just built it. They built it where the old menstruating hut used to be in the Civil War.
That's a weird joke to bring back. Right. All right, so Tim, $2.5 million in 1971. What do you think it's worth now?
$8 million.
Tim, $19,696,419.75. This has been your Georgia's Current Currency Kerner on the 150th episode of SeddyI Bimco. All right.
They make TV shows that are broadcast locally. Now, here's what I like, George, and I thought you'd perk up. They did an archaeological dig there. They call it the West Pompeii because a mudslide covered a Native American village. And they have a man, they called him the Marmas Man, and he was the oldest man known to have been found at that point.
The oldest human remains ever found in the Western Hemisphere. 2 other skeletons and a lot of artifacts were found at the site. Flooding of the
he was 40 years old.
site forced a stop to the
Yes.
dig.
They've since
He was
discovered
pretty old.
people quite a bit older. Turns out there was actually people older than that still living at the school. They were. Look, WSU is not a good school.
It could be now, George. We can't say that.
It's not. I looked it up.
They might sue us.
I looked. You know what the front page of their website says?
What?
Go Cougs.
Oh, no.
That's not acceptable. You're an institution of higher learning. Nobody cares about your cougars.
I hope they don't have a pet cougar still. Well, George,
Tim,
he was the oldest
what if
man
we-
at the time.
Uh-huh.
He was so old.
How old was he, Tim?
He was so old. You could tell that he was sad. He became so old, but there was no civil war to be a buff about. He was so old. You could see he was working on a "You Neanderthals get off my lawn" sign.
Nice.
And he was so old, you could see that Wilma and Betty were trying to change his adult diaper.
Wilma and Betty. Wow, that's actually kind of hot.
Really?
Tim, speaking of
cartoon girls.
2 hot cartoon girls changing my dirty diaper.
Wow.
Tim, speaking of, did you hear that they did this new testing came back on that famous Neanderthal hybrid child skeleton they found?
No. I didn't know about
possibly it's like a 30,000-year-old skeleton uncovered in, I think, France in a cave. They're like, this child seems to be half hybrid with a Neanderthal, and they were all excited about it. But the latest testing shows it exists years after Neanderthals died out. So they're like, well, that's weird. Why does it have so many Neanderthal traits? And the theory is either it's a fucking mutant or that there's something about the perseverance of Neanderthal genes in the human genome that makes them last longer and express more true. Now, folks, as you know, if you've listened to this in the past, my co-host Tim Hamilton has twice the amount of Neanderthal blood as a normal person. So, and if you look at him, right as I'm looking, he's got a bone in his hair. He's carrying a big club.
Racist.
And I think he's riding some sort of woolly mammoth. So I'm going to say this is true. Tim is more Neanderthal than you'd expect.
Racist. I ride tiny horses now.
Ugh, don't mention me that they weren't at the wedding. Just sad.
Did you pay for them?
That's an excellent question, Tim. I think it was part of a package deal.
Oof.
Yeah, it just didn't show up. The thing about little horses is that they can be carried off by little hawks. Yeah.
And if they reach sexual maturity around 5, they get really, really aggressive, and they might rip your face off.
And that's where centaurs come from, because then they have their way with humans, and then unholy births come later.
True.
We have a good
You
podcast.
take it.
Bat and Spider, I'm serious. Reach out to me. We could rename Bat and Spider and Coog. How's that sound? I'll be the Coog.
Didn't you like
Call
meeting
me.
Dr. Fixel?
I don't know who that is.
He's one from NASA. He gave a little speech. He had his one leg up on a step, like with all the kids sitting there in the step looking at his crotch, and he talks to the students, and he's about...
Oh, he was the one wearing a miniskirt and no underpants. I remember that.
Yes. Uh-huh.
And he said, I got a probe for Uranus, huh?
Wow.
And then the movie abruptly cut out. And by movie, it's not a movie. It's an advertisement. It's a half-hour advertisement for WSU. Go Cougs. Yep.
So she tells Grandpa about how ladies strip down to their underpants and get a tan.
Who's she?
Gigi, our student.
You mean granddaughter?
Yes, Gigi, granddaughter, writing her letter to Grandpa Beauregard Jefferson.
Yep, he's a rancher.
At this point, when he read this letter about the girls sunbathing, he had to put down the letter and let his heart calm down. It made him think about when he was a kid, and he looked at that Sears catalog with drawings of ladies with undergarments. And he had one special issue, George, of the Sears catalog. It had an interview with one of the ladies.
Jennifer Walters? No?
She was never in the Sears catalog.
We don't know that.
But it had an interview with this lady, Elizabeth Stewart Mannerly. The things that make her gay, which back then meant happy. She said, a new slave.
Controversial.
A new slave.
Well,
things that make her...
What is with you with this today?
Because this is Civil War.
Tim, the term is enslaved person.
Enslaved person.
Yep.
Things that make her blue when her enslaved person dies of cholera. Her favorite book. So your enslaved person died of cholera.
This is made better by making you actually pronounce it.
Her biggest ambition is to have 5 children before she dies of cholera at age 25.
Right. Nice. Wow.
There you go.
Okay, so we've established her grandfather attended the school in the time of the Civil War, 1860s. So this movie was made in 1972. Let's assume he was at least 18 when he matriculated. So we're dealing with a man who's like in about 140 years old, if not more. Okay, just establishing this.
When you watched Monty Python with your friends, were you the person that's like, why is there a ministry of silly walks? Can't they just walk without government funding, without a ministry at home? I don't get this.
No, because they were funny.
This is your producer, Miss Lee. There was a part here where Tim told a funny joke about how in 1863, Jefferson Davis was watching a DVD about sending his kids to Washington State University. But George ruined it with logic by pointing out that Jefferson Davis would not own a DVD player during the Civil War because the DVD player supply was cut off by Union soldiers for the entire war. So you'll never hear that joke. Back to the show.
Are we done with this yet?
No, I like the engineering school, George. They built a model train and they flooded it. She tells her grandpa that, they make particulate board here.
Particle board.
Particle board? I call it particular board.
Yep.
Because it's very particular.
I like that you've said a different thing each time. That's good.
They have a pavement test track. Did you see that? That was pretty cool. Wheels going around in circles to test pavement.
Yeah. Because there was a controversial use of studded tires at the time. And she spoke with great familiarity, saying, you, of course, know of this controversy. And I happily will report that watching this now from this movie made before I was even conceived, I have no idea what the fuck she's talking about.
Nope.
Know what part made me sad? There's a part when they have shaking kittens.
Yep. They have a veterinary school. Well, the kittens already had a disease, and they're trying to help them.
And let me tell you, because I was watching this in double speed, the cats were vibrating. It was very quick. It was very alarming.
They were looking at 2 animal skeletons, and they're trying to help these 2 little kittens. They have dances there. They go to dances. You see that dance?
Yeah.
Wow. Gotta meet me halfway, George. Well, they like to dance to Led Zeppelin, the Eagles,
Who doesn't?
Because Grandpa's favorite band was Beauregard Beaver and his White Man Banjo Quartet.
Does Grandpa like them because his name is also Beauregard, as you already previously established?
Yeah.
Is Beauregard the new Hitler for you?
Probably.
Are you going to mention Beauregard nonstop?
So here's an upsetting part.
Oh, only one?
I thought you would agree with me.
Oop.
The students stand up and talk about their personal relationship with Jesus.
Oh, that part sucked, yeah.
That was big back then.
My favorite thing was the woman goes, she accepted Jesus into her heart, and though there's been no change in her life whatsoever, she knows that it's coming. I'm like, lady, it ain't coming.
And again, I'm just getting to one part where we notice this. All these students, again, in the 70s, they look like they're 30. One guy's bald.
I saw a lot of old guys.
Yeah.
They make a comment, too. She talks about how they grow weird, floofy hair, but by the time graduation rolls around, most of those seniors will shave off their sideburns and mustaches. Yep. And I yawned, and I couldn't have cared less. Can I read you the one comment on this video on YouTube?
Sure.
Yeah. This is from Robert Mahler 4149. I was a freshman in the fall of 1972. This film brings back many memories of a time gone by. Thanks for digitizing this. Yep.
She talks about football being the biggest sport ever. She said, we have many sports today, Grandpa, unlike in your day. You just had your all-white baseball team, your all-white football team, and your all-white cross-burning team. All-white cross-burning team.
Yep. I'm amazed that you, like, when you had told me that you're doing this as an easy, relaxed episode, and when I saw the crap that you passed off as a film for this, I'm like, oh, Tim's just going to do just random shit.
No.
Like, this is going to be nothing. But you are literally going point for point through this 50-something-year-old advertisement for a school.
Yeah. She said, well, we're here, George. Her letter's getting long. She has to study for her computer test. They have computer quizzes now because I don't know how that makes it better. But and you know what, George?
What?
I have a quiz for you.
Oh,
See?
boy. Oh, boy, here I go. Let me crack my knuckles. Wait, can you hear this? Maybe. We'll see. All right, let's hear this question. Tim.
Do you remember the show, the Newlywed Game?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the one where they famously asked the one guy, where's the most strange place you ever had whoopee? And the guy said, in the butt, Bob.
Did he really say true story?
Yeah, that's a famous thing. I think he said most definitely in the butt, Bob. Because it was a Bob who.
I forget.
Yeah,
He didn't specify which.
It was Bob. It was Bob Eubanks.
Ah,
Yep, in the butt, Bob. Oh, up the butt, Bob. No, wait.
Ooh.
There's two. It's a little controversial. Up or in? Who can tell? Tell you what. Go watch the Newlyweds Game and report back to us. SeddyI Bimco with an E at the end at gmail.com. Bat and Spider, if you're listening, call me, please. Thank you.
just wanted to say that's how the game worked. You asked one person something. You asked their wife, and the husband wasn't there, and the wife came back to see if she matched the same answer. So
Yeah, they would ask them questions about stuff like what's your husband's favorite food? And the wife would be like, raw human flesh. And he'd come back and he'd be like, actually, donuts. I don't know what she's thinking.
Well, I asked Cablasto some questions, and it's multiple choice, and you're going to guess what you think he answered.
Do you regard Cablasto as your husband or me as your husband?
Husband.
Yeah. Well, we both
Here.
present as males, so I'm assuming.
You're my sister husbands.
Okay, that works. All right, let's hear these questions. Go on, Tim.
So
Wait, actually, what the hell does this have to do with the movie?
it's 150th anniversary, and this is a
Oh,
quiz.
are we done with the movie? Before we get into this, can I just say,
What?
can you imagine being the person who worked for WSU? You're like, enrollment's down. We need to get more people to come to this institution. Let's make a half-hour-long movie from the point of view of a woman writing to her elderly grandfather about all the cool things at her school. Where was this scene? Where was this screened? How did this work? How much money was spent on this? It's just bewildering.
They sent it to high schools, I'll bet.
Oh, yeah, I guess. And then that's like I don't understand why we almost went out of business in 72. All right, now, okay, let's go with your quiz.
Why did the 1986 Bill Cosby movie, Leonard Part 6, starring Bill Cosby, make Kevin Cablasto cry? Why did it make him cry? So you got three choices. When he realized halfway through the movie that it wasn't about his favorite band, Leonard Skinner. And number two, when he realized that Leonard Part 1 through 5 didn't exist. And third option, when he realized that Leonard Part 7 also didn't exist.
So I don't even get to make up these answers. I have to choose your preconceived notions?
No, it's what Kevin said. I got his answer right here.
I'm going to say part 1 through 5 don't exist and made him cry.
Okay,
Ooh,
number
that's
two is
good.
your answer. But
Yeah.
which one?
I would say B.
B, when you realized that Leonard Part
Yes.
1 through 5 didn't exist. Okay. Yay.
Fucking nailed it.
You nailed it.
I know my Cablasto.
Okay, the next question.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to send you pictures on my phone. Oh, wait,
Okay. You're going to
No.
hold them up to the camera. Yeah.
because you got to know they're real.
Yeah.
If Kevin, like your old podcast, what if he had 3 islands to choose from to live on? He could only have one. And each one had a different type of Oreo. Which one would he choose? So
And then, follow-up question. Aside from the Oreo, they're identical in every way, shape, or form?
Yep.
Okay.
He just gets that one Oreo for the rest of
Tim is
his
referencing
time.
my previous podcast, Hypothetical Island, where I'd spin hypothetical scenarios for various guests of note. Still
Okay.
available. Go listen to it. All right.
It is. Number one, Vegemite flavor. That's real.
Disgusting. Actually, I don't really know what Vegemite is outside of that Men at Work song. So
Yes, that's all it is. It's a lyric in a song.
And there was a reference to it in long time ago SeddyI Bimco episode, Howling 3, the Marsupials.
That's true.
Yep.
Second choice, Swedish fish Oreo, where they put like the Swedish fish inside the Oreo.
Oh, wow. I'm a Trader Joe's person, so I call them Scandinavian swimmers.
Oh. And the third choice are these Oreos called, they're just the chocolate cookie part. They're called Licked Clean. They've been licked clean of the cream filling by Eric Trump and repackaged for sale. See? And
Tim showed a picture of it. Sure enough, it says Licked Clean. And there was the unmistakable doughy and chromosome damaged face of Eric Trump staring out blankly from it.
If you want to see them, go to our website. We have a blog, SeddyI Bimco Part 2, The Revenge. I'll post them.
Okay.
Vegemite,
So now...
Vegemite, Swedish fish, or Licked Clean? Which did Kevin pick?
Now I'm confused because I thought you were showing me photos. I thought these were all real, but now that I see the Eric Trump ones, I know that you. I mean, Tim, you're reasonably skilled in Photoshop. These could all be lies. But knowing Kevin as I do, I'm going to say he's going with the Swedish fish.
Okay, let's see what he said.
This is what? I'm alone on a desert island. I can only have one. Yep. I guess I'm going with the Swedish fish.
All right.
So.
Fuck yeah!
Wow, you're so good.
I know.
And one more question.
If I get this full try, if
you
I
leave.
win, well, I get to leave this podcast. I get to join Bat and Spider. I'm going to leave my wife and marry Kevin. All right.
If Robert England was your neighbor, star of
the actor who brought Freddy Krueger to life and all the original films, not the remake with Rorschach.
If Robert Englund was neighbors with Kevin Cablasto, would he visit him, even though the only reason he ever invited him over was to watch Leonard Part 6 with him?
Now, would he being Robert Englund or he being Kevin Cablasto?
No, just
Who's
the actor.
doing the visiting?
Just the actor is the neighbor.
So Robert Englund visits Kevin.
No, he lives next door.
Yes, but you used he.
He only invites Kevin over to watch Leonard Part 6. That's all. Would Kevin go? And he's that kind of guy who's like, shh, good part here. No, shh, you're going to miss this plot point.
Yes, absolutely he would.
Okay,
Kevin is a man who was brought to tears by learning there was not an existing Leonard Part 5.
Yes.
Yes, he's still...
Yes.
But what if he's just said that? Okay, you got all three right.
Right.
Yay, George.
Yay.
You're free from your curse.
I'm free from the show. Goodbye, everybody. It's been a pleasure being here with you on SeddyI Bimco for, let's say, about maybe 70 of these last... No, I'm probably not 70 episodes. I bet I'm on like 60 maybe. But yeah. Woo. All right. What else we got, Tim?
She ended it. They have rodeos. I did leave that out.
Oh, we're going back into the movie that this list had nothing to do with?
That quiz was for our anniversary party.
All right. Well, okay then, Tim, if we're doing this, I have a list.
I want you to do lists.
I did do a list, but I don't think you're going to like this list, Tim. Are you ready?
Okay.
I have a list, and it's called 150 Things. This is in celebration of 150 episodes of SeddyI Bimco. 150 Things Tim loves doing.
Okay.
All right. Number 150. Making bewildering choices for movies that upset me. Number 149. Telling bewildering jokes that anger me. Number 148. Telling bewildering jokes that anger alternate co-host Kevin Cablasto.
He's never angry.
He literally, in the most recent episode, says, the most recently aired episode goes, is your whole thing you just bring on your co-hosts and make them angry? That's a direct quote from Kevin Cablasto.
Oh,
Number 147 of things that Tim loves doing. Giving unpaid promotional exposure to Needle Drop Records in Rochester, New York for some bewildering reason. Number 146. Saying the word hookah.
Didn't say it this week.
Yet. Number 145. Sighing loudly. Number 144. Crushing his enemies, seeing them driven before him, and hearing the lamentations of their women. Number 143. Anything produced before 1963.
That's right.
Number 142, making lists. Number 141, skipping over numbers 140 to number 2 on his lists. And the number one thing that Tim loves doing, scaring away 95% of our audience with bewildering age-old jokes that he wrote while stoned to the bone. That's my list. And that is all I produced for this show today. Thank you.
That's a good list. I'm stone cold sober when I write those.
I don't think that's true, Tim.
Well, at the end of every movie, I like to say how it is like Star Wars.
Mm-hmm. How is this like Star Wars, Tim?
Well, remember in this movie, the veterinarians were looking at 2 animal skeletons?
Uh-huh.
Ironically, the students named those skeletons Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru.
That's especially ironic given that this is, 6 years before Star Wars?
There you go again.
Do you think George Lucas was a alum of WSU?
Yeah, I think so.
And he did that? Yeah, okay.
1 semester. He worked
And
on the pavement machine.
I like to compare this to, and because Tim mentioned Star Wars entirely too much, I like to compare it to 1986's fantasy masterpiece, Labyrinth. In Labyrinth, David Bowie, in his role as Jareth the Goblin King, wears very tight pants. You could see every line of his groin in. Mm-hmm. And in this movie, a lot of people wear polyester pants. You could see the same thing. Like that one guy put his leg up and talked.
Yep.
So you see a lot of thinly veiled balls in both movies.
True.
Happy 150th episode, everyone out in SeddyI Bimco land.
Revenge.
Oh, okay, all right, yeah.
Wherever you are, wherever you're hiding, I'll find you.
Revenge.
I will just come out and say I'm doing a real Kablaster this week. I crafted no revenge sequels.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll make one up right now because the difference between Tim and I in these things is Tim, as you maybe could guess by the quote, like Tim writes stuff. Sometimes I write a sentence. 9 times out of 10, I just kind of ad lib it. So let's see. I'm gonna say revenge had. The grandfather sought revenge on the granddaughter because the whole time he never went to school.
Oh,
she just wrote this as she was a mocking taunt of him.
Wow.
And so so he showed up at WSU and he set fire to the campus.
Oh, dark.
Yeah, and then he killed everybody.
Dark.
Yep.
Stop the music now? Okay.
And he yelled, "Go Cougs."
Go Cougs. That's the worst
part. Go Cougs, as he did it. Yep. All right, what's your story, Tim?
Well, also Grandpa Beauregard Jefferson. He's the one that wants revenge.
Jefferson. Was he Jefferson before?
I think I said Jefferson.
Did
Beauregard
Okay.
Jefferson. He heard.
Remember the Muppet Show? The janitor was named Beauregard.
Oh yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I was gonna mention that. Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, he hears about Dr. Fixel, that guy from NASA, and he's outraged because when he went to school there, Fixel was his arch nemesis. He's like, who can that be? A descendant, or is he a Dracula? How can he still be there?
Oh, because of course Beauregard Jefferson, as we established, is at least 140 years old.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Could also just be always possibility Beauregard Jefferson, just a guy with the same name. Just saying.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Grandpa Jefferson wants revenge on Fixel for the trick he pulled on him at the Fall Harvest Festival way back in 1905 when he drew a penis on Grandpa's head after he passed out drinking moonshine.
Wow. Back then, drawing a penis on somebody's head, that's like...
Yep.
That's a great... Did they even know what penises were back then?
No, he drew it wrong. Had three balls.
How awkward.
So Grandpa goes back to school to get revenge. He changes his name to something less old-fashioned. He calls himself Peter Best. And he enrolls into college.
Wait, this is Grandpa in 72?
Yep. He enrolls in college.
140-year-old man, does he go to
Makeup.
WSU?
He hates it. He puts on a fake wig with that sissy long hair that he calls it. And he puts on those commie love beads. He puts on all this stuff to look like a hippie. Yeah?
Are you trying to establish he is former Beatle Pete Best?
No.
Because that guy famously wouldn't grow his hair long, and that's why he got kicked out.
Wow. I never heard that.
Wait, really?
I thought it was because he didn't know how to draw a penis. He always put 3 balls on it.
That was also that.
Anyway.
We're a good podcast.
Yes, and. Left and right, yes, anding.
Yeah.
So he's got all the big long hair, so they don't know he's an old man. So he goes to his first class. It's figure drawing class. And they're drawing a nude model, a man.
A man.
And Grandpa's very upset.
How many balls does this man have?
Well, Grandpa's like, 2. Now I know. And he's real manly He-Man. He's like, I shouldn't be in the same room with a naked man looking at his penis and everything. So he draws it, but he won't draw the balls. And the teacher's like, he won't draw the penis or the balls. And the teacher's like, come on, you got to draw this if you want to be a real artist, or I'm going to give you an F and kick you out of school. So Grandpa covers his eyes and scribbles something. And when he opens his eyes, he's drawn a big penis with elves dancing on the tip. And the teacher's like, oh my God, this is amazing. You're great at this. But he's all upset. He's mortified. He runs out the door. He says he has to get to his next class. The next class is agriculture class, because they had that there too, George. And
that was most of the advertisement was about their agriculture stuff.
They're learning how you get semen from a bull. And I don't know if you know this, but they take semen from a bull for breeding, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can use a small machine. Sometimes you have to use your hand. And it's Grandpa's turn to go up so they can show him how to use his hand to get semen from a bull.
Grandpa is really having a lot of his establishment of masculinity is really being it's being challenged.
So Grandpa goes up slowly and he just touches the bull's penis with one finger, and it's like semen explodes everywhere, and like, oh my God, you're so good at this. You just touched it. And he's all upset and he runs away. He's got to go to his next
bull
class.
masturbator.
Yes.
Yeah.
And in astronomy class, they sing a song about the planets, how they love the planets. And, of course, Grandpa gets Uranus and has to sing, I love Uranus. And then he runs across campus for a place to relax. But people are in swimsuits. They come up to him and they say they need another guy for their raft trip down the river. And Grandpa feels like, well, this could be relaxing. I'll just go on a raft trip. But as they're floating down the river, he notices that the raft is shaped like a giant penis. It's Gay Pride weekend for the school, which is odd for 1973, but they did it anyway.
I agree. I forgot. Are we at WSU or is this another university?
No, it's WSU, where his daughter is.
Okay. All right. Wow. I mean, his granddaughter.
His granddaughter.
Or is his daughter there as well?
Great-great-granddaughter.
Is his granddaughter hanging out? Does he feel like at one point he has to show what a real man he is, and he's like, I'm going to spy on women with binoculars who are sunbathing? Does he check out his own granddaughter?
You'll be glad I cut this out, George, but I had a whole subplot where he slept with his granddaughter's roommate, and he wakes up with her there.
It's horrible.
It was horrible. I said, I better cut this out.
Yeah.
So Gramps fell overboard in the rafting trip, and he passed out because he drank in some water, but he wakes up. Everybody's above him. They gave him mouth to mouth. They revived him. But who's standing over him? Dr. Fixel, because he looks like his old nemesis. And he's like, Dr. Fixel, you saved my life. He says, how can you still be here? And Dr. Fixel says, what do you mean? My grandfather went here, my father went here. It's a tradition that's just, been passed down. I'm the great-great-grandson of your nemesis.
Great-great-grandson. So his family had normal generations, not the 140-year-old man who's pretending to be Pete Best of the Beatles.
Yes.
Okay.
Dr. Fixel says he's sorry for what his great-grandfather did to him. So Gramps feels better.
What did he do again?
Drew a penis on his head.
Oh, yeah, at the Harvest Festival.
So Gramps gets into a taxi and goes home feeling happy, but then he looks in the mirror of the taxi and he sees...
Oh, no, wait.
Dr. Fixel drew a penis on his head with 3 balls. And marker. The end.
Dr. Fixel's a real asshole. Wow.
Movie's called Grandpa Grad School. That's our relaxed 150th anniversary.
I think we need to be more relaxed, Tim.
But that's it. Oh. We got mail and everything.
Mail?
Are you happy about that?
No.
It's you. You wrote a fucking long letter.
No, it's not that long.
You want me to read this?
Yes, please.
Dear SeddyI Bimco Incorporated, I am writing you today, not in my role as semi-regular host of this fine program, but rather my...
I think it was semi-regular co-host.
Oh, no host.
Oh, host. Oh, look at me being wrong.
Rather in my identity as mildly known New York Times bestselling author George O'Connor. It's my understanding, Tim, that you're planning on having various guest stars and celebrities write in for the landmark 150th episode. And I posit that I am the most famous person you know.
Yes.
To that effect, congrats on making it to 150 episodes.
Yes.
That's one big chunk of your lifespan on this planet you'll never get back. Long live SeddyI Bimco. Your pal, New York Times bestselling author George.
Nice.
P.S.
Okay. There's a P.S. Okay.
As of the time of this recording, the most recent aired episode, Invader, with one semi-regular co-host, Kevin Cablasto, contained what is undoubtedly the most watched turd of an age-old question joke you've ever farted out over the podcast waves. To remind you, and any theoretical listeners we may have, it was the one about the fourth wise man's camel actually being a horse that had glue factory blindness. In a word, ugh. I do not know if the rest of the episode improved from there as I joined the ranks of all who dared download an episode of SeddyI Bimco and turned off the episode with an audible groan immediately after your joke.
Yes, this was true initially, but I did eventually go back later today and listen to it.
And it turned out good, huh?
It was actually a pretty funny episode, yeah. But that joke, like, Tim, that was quite a walk you took.
That's quite a walk.
Yep.
Well, we got some... Okay, the first one, number one, I don't know what it is. Hit number one.
Hey, it's me. Yeah, that's right. Stereotypical gangster number 2 from the background of that scene in the movie Goodfellas. How you guys doing? I'm here to wish you a very welcome returns on your 150 of episode of your pod chatting.
Pod chatting?
Timothy, GJ,
DJ,
Georgie boy.
Hey.
You got done good, okay? But now's the time you got to start paying back. This is the time we collect. So from now on, every episode that you do, we got to have 2 lists and 2 age-old questions. One for you, one for us. Capiche? I love you lots. Maybe not. But I'm going to kiss you on the mouth anyway.
Oh, no,
Congratulations, 150 episodes.
Well, that was something. I'm scared.
You're scared.
I don't want this guy to kiss me on the lips. He doesn't sound like he brushes his teeth.
Wow, who was that?
It was the second gangster from the back. Stereotypical gangster from the background of Goodfellas.
Wow.
I remember him. He was that stereotypical gangster in the background of Goodfellas. Remember?
Nice. I do remember.
Kind of sounded like it was Joe Pesci himself, but
it did.
Maybe it was an incredible simulacrum.
Similar to how he talked in Home Alone, though.
Now, I have to confess, Tim, I fully expected all these to be you, but I don't think that was you.
Well, let's try this next one, and I'm going to play the one.
Oh, let me go back. Let me go. All right.
Thomas the Tank Engine rolled into the station to wish you two a
Is it
very
Ringo?
happy 150th episode of the SeddyI Bimco podcast. Peace of love, peace of love. It's me, your old pal, Ringo Starr, banging away on me drums, serenading you on a century and a half of chit-chat, chitty-wag. Maybe you could take a voyage out of the States of America over here to the UK and do films based on different areas over here, but just not Liverpool, because there is nothing that I miss about that god-forsaken city.
Damn, Ringo. I mean...
Peace of love.
Wow.
Peace of love.
Wow.
Ringo. I'm
Ringo.
so honored.
That's so weird that we had Ringo on an episode where you evoked once again Pete Best.
Oh, that's I hope, yeah. Sorry.
Yep, you hope.
Sorry, Ringo.
I hope Ringo doesn't... That's the first... That's a first for us, having Ringo Starr call.
You thought you were the most popular celebrity related to this podcast.
Yeah, I've been proven wrong.
Whew. So
There
how
was
about,
something...
huh?
We're going to do number 3?
Number 3, you ready?
Hey, happy birthday, 150 episodes to the wondrous, the amazing SeddyI Bimco Part 2, The Revenge. Well done, Tim. Well done, George. Slightly well done, Cablasto, when he's there.
Yep. That tracks.
It's an absolute honour to share a Discord with you fellas. I say share a Discord. Tim's there most of the time. George, you're very rarely there. But if people are listening to this and they enjoy the podcast, please join the Discord. So Tim just isn't talking to himself the whole time, or probably talking to Cablasto and maybe me. We love you all over on the movie mixtape. You're absolutely kicking our butt in terms of episode numbers. And, I'm just going to say it. Pure quality.
Whoa, that's a
So
compliment.
well done on 150. Used to, and maybe 3 of yous, maybe 3 of yous, but definitely used to are the best. Well done, fellas. Mwah.
That was Dirk, I guess.
Yeah, Dirk did not actually identify himself. I also feel like it's worth mentioning, doesn't Dirk sound suspiciously similar to both background gangster and Ringo Starr?
No, I don't hear it.
No, you don't hear it.
Dirk from the Movie Mixtape Podcast with Dirk and Marcy.
I couldn't. It's two very thick Southern accents in a row, so I really had a hard time understanding both Ringo and Dirk.
Sometimes Mikey's on their podcast.
Sometimes
Mikey came on our show to watch.
I remember Mikey. Mikey, fan of Generation X, the TV movie.
Poor guy. We're like, Mikey, this movie's terrible. What are you saying?
He loved it. We really like to reduce our occasional guest hosts just to like one trait. Mikey likes Generation X. Cablasto loves Oreos. John Kelly loved olive oil. We're a good podcast.
All right, we got one.
Call me.
We got one more message.
George, Tim, it's me,
Oh
Sean Connery.
Wow.
Specifically, Sean Connery playing James Bond in all the movies you've seen.
And here
on
I
your
thought he
TV
hated
screen.
returning to that role.
Usually, I like things that go down on me, not up.
Whoa.
But when I saw your podcast had reached the dizzying heights of 150 episodes, well, I was shaken and a bit stirred enough to phone in and wish you congratulations, all the best, well done for England.
Well,
and George,
wait, isn't he Scottish?
I always find your current currency corner invaluable in my travels across Eastern Europe, both in the 60s and now. It's hard to understate the importance of rigorous economics when you're undoing a lady's brassiere in Paris, France. So 003 and 009, George and Tim, once again, many congratulations. This is Bond, James Bond signing off.
Wow.
Wow, that was. He really lost sight of who he was by the end.
It sounded like Ringo. Maybe.
He started out as Sean Connery. At the end, he was just fully Bond. Do you think, Tim, I'm just going to, I think Sean Connery's dead.
I think so. Maybe he faked it.
Yeah. Well.
But if Paul McCartney can fake his death, I'm sure he can.
That certainly wasn't one person pretending to be four, Tim.
Great. Amazing.
Yes.
This is the best
those
episode
Those
ever.
are words that have never been used to describe SeddyI Bimco. Tim, I want to, as a heartfelt thing, I want people to understand Tim really, and I'm not saying this is a dick, Tim really is the force behind SeddyI Bimco. That's why he is the constant. Sometimes it's me, sometimes it's Cablasto. No, but this is, you make the music, you do the editing, you get the highly suspicious calls to come in.
Thank you.
This is Tim. Tim, congratulations on 150 episodes, because you are the only person to be on all 150.
That's true.
Well, you and Theo Peck, who sits quietly in the corner just staring at you the whole time.
Wow.
He never makes a noise,
That's
just
a
stares.
name out of nowhere.
Yeah, just go back and listen to Theo Peck's episode.
But you and John and you and Cablasto also make the show possible by sitting here and absorbing mostly wonderful jokes and a few bad ones, and couldn't do the show without you. Any of you.
But actually, you probably could.
No, I couldn't.
I'm pretty sure you could.
No, I need you here, and Cablasto.
Really? Half the time, Cablasto and I just walk away from as you're talking.
But yeah, thanks to everybody and producer Miss Lee.
Thanks, producer Miss Lee. You're the best part of SeddyI Bimco.
But George, do you have a movie for next week?
I totally forgot it was my movie. So in a panic, I just while you were talking, wait, Tim. I opened up our list of movies we've done,
What's
and I
left?
found Wyoming.
That's right. That is left.
Yeah, and so the movie, you're going to hate this, Tim. It's the last film by John Derek, starring Bo Derek, his wife, and Anthony Quinn, with Julie Newmar, Leo Damien, and unfortunately, Donald Trump.
Ooh,
and it's called Ghosts Can't Do It.
Oh, it's just a cameo, right?
I would assume so. Here's what I read. I looked this up, so I mean, maybe this might be one of those things that
I'm excited about. That sounds great. What do you mean I won't like this? Is it from what year is it from?
It's because of
Trump.
Well, oh my God,
I figured you wouldn't like it either. You're saying you like it?
No, well, I mean, it's got Bo Derek. She's probably naked in it. It's 1989.
Okay, I'm excited. I'm excited about every movie.
You can find it on. It looks like it's on Daily Motion.
I'm into this. I'm
yeah.
in all the way.
Yeah. Yep.
If we were in the woods and we found a dead animal, I'm the one like, let's cook and eat it. And George is like, I don't know about this part.
Oh, no, it's got Donald Trump on it. I'm worried about the Donald Trump of it. I'm being honest. Like, I don't know if I could.
I assume it's a cameo, but you can check and change your mind if it looks too bad.
This is the thing. Yeah, maybe we'll have to take this part. But like looking at the Wikipedia of it, Donald Trump's appearance as himself earned a Golden Raspberry Award for Worst Supporting Actor.
Okay.
Yeah, so maybe he.
We can do this.
Yeah.
We'll people be knocking on our door. No joke, people. Yeah. That's what it's like America now. Hey,
hey,
don't come here. Don't vacation here. Sorry. I mean,
no, don't. Stay away. And if you can get us out of there, please come get us. All right, ghosts can't do it. Can't wait. Wyoming coming for you. Yeah,
bye,
but
everybody.
Most of that. All right, bye, everybody.
I do want to say next week we won't have a new episode, but after that we're taking a little break because of all the work we did on this episode.
Nice.
All right.
Okay. Cool.
Bye.
Right. Bye.
This has been a Pity Party Line production.
Party line, it's a party line.
Next week on SeddyI Bimco Part 2, The Revenge. Things get romantic.
He always has been dependent on environment for his existence. And now, for the first time, we have two balancing points of view to look at this environmental problem. The second one is provided by the perspective from outer space, from the Apollo program.
Be here next week, 8 p.m. Central Time, right after the Thanksgiving Classic. Grandpa Goes to Grad School.